Again. Sorry about that. Okay, so tonight, like I said, we'll be looking at practically how to set up a project board um, on Azure DevOps. And like I said, before we go into it, there's just some few things that I would love us to look at so that by the time we're talking about some things, you'll have a bit of understanding what I'm talking about. So I would love everyone to be tonight is going to be an interesting one, like I said, because we're doing practically the application. So it's going to be an interesting one from the start to the finish. It's not just for the Scrum Master who are to set up the board, but for everyone who is a team member to understand how your project board works, the things on your project board, some features and all that, to familiarize yourself with it, so that by the time you're on the board and you're using it, you have an understanding of what you're doing. You have an understanding of the things on the board what they mean to you and how you can, use it. It's user friendly, so how you can use it also. So before we start, I'd just like to take note that of some few house rules, if it's okay. But everyone, please, let's be muted because of the session is being recorded. Let's keep our cameras off also to avoid distracting other people. There will be opportunities for clarification that will be provided at the end of each process. Okay, so when we do a process, before I go into the next process, I would ask if there's any clarification, but if we can limit it, it will save us a lot of time, okay, for us to be able to finish what we need to do on time. We can minimize that also. And then to ask your questions, because we're recording again, we will prefer either you use the chat box or you raise your hand. Okay, so I need a volunteer, somebody to be my assistant tonight, because I can't see anybody raising their hand. So I need somebody to be my assistant tonight to say, if anybody raises their hand at the end of each session, if I ask, does anybody have a question, you might unmute and say, oh, there's a hand raised and all that, and then I'll be able to tell that person to talk. So any volunteer, do I have a volunteer to work with me tonight?
Yes, yes, I'm a volunteer.
Okay, so
Friday, Steven.
Sorry, what's the name? Friday?
Friday, Steven.
Okay, today is Friday, so should we pick Friday to do Friday? Yeah?
No,
okay.
Let's pick Albert.
Okay.
All right.
Friday,
Okay, so
Friday should go for it.
okay, thank you so much. All right, so not to waste much time, we want to look at what a project board is. What is a project board? What is this topic all about? Azure board setup. So we want to look at what is a project board, what is the purpose of a project board, why do we need to use a project board, what is Azure DevOps, what does it mean? Yeah, and how do you set up your project on Azure DevOps? Okay, so a project board is just a centralized resources that provides visuals and transparency for the team's workflow. And then it helps to increase the effectiveness of how you manage your work. And it helps you, it's a collaborative tool. Okay, so we know now we're in the era where people don't just go into the office Monday to Friday any longer. There is hybrid working. You go into office some days, you work from home some days. And there are even some teams that they are fully remote. Yeah, you might be in the UK and you're working for a company that is based in the US, so that's fully remote for you. You might even be in the UK and be working for an organization which is in the UK who are just working fully remote. Okay, so how do we collaborate? How are we still able to work together as a team, that we're not feeling the distance, the distance that we have, geographically distance that we have? How do we do that? How are we able to do that? We're able to achieve that through a collaborative tool. Like I said, one of it is Azure DevOps is a collaborative tool that allow team members and organizations to still be able to work, to still be able to see what they are doing, irrespective of where they are located or where they are based. Okay, and to still feel that closeness and that bond that they're still a team. That is what Azure DevOps prefers. And your project board is, like I said, it's just a resource, it's a collaborative tool. It's a tool, yeah, and it's a collaborative tool. It's a centralized tool based in the clouds that the team can use. So it's not limited to, oh, just the people in the UK or just the people in Nigeria or just the people in the US, wherever you are based, because it's cloud-based, you're able to access it and make use of the features on it for your team to be productive, to be focused, and be able to track what you're doing. Okay, so the purpose of the project board is for the team to be able to, you're able to interact, you're able to plan on it. For those that were around during the demo yesterday, you could see what we were able to do. We're all not in the same room doing what we're doing. Everybody is where they are, but we're able to plan using that board. We're able to track work. We're able to review what we've done, and we're able to manage the project, you understand, to achieve the the defined goals within the timeline that has been given for that project to be worked on. So your stakeholders, if permitted, can also go on your board to see how the team is doing. Okay, so this is where they are. Okay, so this is what they were doing now, and things like that, no matter where they are. So they are free also to come on your board. That is the part of Agile that is transparent. Okay, so of definitely they can't just come on your board without having the right access to come onto it, but they are free to. I'm not saying they is compulsory for them to, but they are free to. Okay, and also the board is not just limited to the Scrum team. We'll get there. I don't want to be go ahead of myself. So that is what your project board is. It's just a collaborative tool that you use to plan as a team. Helps you to interact, to plan, to track what you're doing. Visibility is there, transparency is there. I can see what Friday is doing. I can see what Stephen is doing. I can see what A is doing. I can see what Olawumi is doing. Okay, so I don't have to go into their emails. I don't have to go into anywhere. With that same board, everybody is transparent. What everybody is working on is transparent to every other members of the team. That is what you're able to use your board or to do. Okay, so what is Azure DevOps itself now? So Azure DevOps is a website, and it can be accessed, like I said earlier on, through a web browser, which provides a set of features that you can use in doing everything that I said you can do: planning, tracking, developing, maintaining a software development lifecycle. You can do that using the resources provided, the Azure DevOps resources provided. It's a Microsoft product, is owned by Microsoft, and is a cloud computing platform, like I said earlier on. And like I said earlier on also, you can access it anywhere in the world. No matter where you're based, you can access it. Once you have access to the URL, and once you've been added onto it, which is everything we're going to do tonight, you're able to access it no matter where you are. Okay, and then it just provides us with that opportunity to work together as a team. And like I said earlier on, you're able to see what everybody is doing, and then we can collaborate based on what we can see that everyone is doing. We're able to collaborate also, and then it helps also the Scrum Master to be able to guide the team on the agile framework they're using. If once she sees the way the team is working, she's able to provide the support, either coaching support or any support that she feels that the team needs to do what they're doing. Okay, so when you join an organization, I'm going to use Blue Sky Citadel as an organization which you have joined, yeah, by being here, registering and being here. So when you join an organization, as you have joined Blue Sky Citadel, you are added as a user to the organization. So I know a lot of you must have received the Azure DevOps invite in your email, asking you that your organization wants you to join this board and all that, and then it provides you with a join button that you clicked on, and then you're able to follow through and all that. So the organization adds you as a user to the organization's Azure board with an email registered. And when this is done, okay, so this is just telling us that it's just a centralized, that's what the project board is. It's just a centralized resources that provides visuals for us, and then we're able to use it to collaborate in what we're doing, and also to be transparent in what we're doing. And like I said, Azure DevOps is just a website, yeah, owned by Microsoft, as we have said, and it has its own integrated features that allows you to be able to do what you need to do, allows you to plan, allows you to develop, allow you to test what has been developed and all that. Okay, so in the course of this evening, these are the things that we want to look at. These are the things we want to cover. So this evening, we're going to create a bot. together. We'll see how it's done. We're going to invite members to the board. Okay. So like I said, once you join that organization, once they've put you as a user onto the board with your registered email address, then you're able to use it. Then you'll get the invite in your inbox. Okay. So I'm just going to use a physical you being employed by an organization. So, you know, when you get employed by an organization, you take all your credentials to HR when you first start, and HR are still the ones that are opening the door for you with the fob key and everything and all that. But once they have all your requirement, once they have all your documents, you've signed all you need to sign and everything and all that, and then they start using your information they have on the system now to get things for you. The facilities team start getting things for you, your own fob key that you can use to enter and all that. The same thing you have with Azure DevOps. So that's physical, but this is just the digital aspect. So for us now, you are part of Blue Sky. We have your email. We put your email on the board, which is what we've done, getting you to get the invites and all that. And with the invite and the URL you have, because you've added your no, we've added you, but you've processed the invites. Now you have your personal login details in order to be able to access the Azure DevOps organization. I won't say your project yet, because your Scrum Masters need to set up the project. So what I'm doing tonight is to show us how to do that. So we're going to create a project. I'll do a demo about that. We'll invite members to it. We'll create what we call an inherited process. When we get there, I'll explain what that means for you. So this is just to give us an overview of what we're going to cover tonight. Okay. So we have the dashboard settings. We do the change default settings on the iteration. So each bullet point is a process. And after each process is where I said I will pause to ask a question so that we don't wait until the end and then people forget their questions, or I have to go back on the board to start showing you things. But again, less limited. So these are the ones that we're going to cover. We're going to configure our project board. We're going to configure the PBI, and that's product backlog item. Same thing called a user story, bug card, and to include more fields into them. We'll see how it's done. We're going to customize our work item types, the product backlog item, the bug, the task, with needed field, the layout, and the state. We'll do all that. We'll create and add widgets to our dashboard. We're going to get widgets from extension. So we might not get widgets from extension, because I think over the course of um, the few internships that we have, we've put everything we think it's needed on the board. And the same thing you will have in an organization. So you're not going to get into an organization and they are just starting to get widgets onto um, their project board. It's already there, because there have been teams that have been using that project board, that Azure, before you get into that organization. So they would have that. But no, I'll just take you through the gallery just to show you that, okay, but there might be something you need and you need to go to the gallery to get it. You might be able to get it. In the workforce out there, they don't make the gallery that easy, especially when it has to do with anything that you need to buy. The organization will set it in such a way that you're not able to add a widget, a feature that they have to pay for, because you know it's subscription. So they wouldn't have that. But there's a lot of free features also on the marketplace, which you can get. It's going to be is free. They don't have to pay for it. It's the one that they will tell you do free trial that might lead to payment that the organization would have actually stopped. And that's why they put permission in place, so that it's not just anybody that can go and do that. It might just be somebody with admin rights that can do that. But because over here we're just trying to teach you, you might end up in an admin situation. You might end up being an agile delivery manager, and they've given you the admin rights to be able to do some things for the teams that are under you and all that. So we will go through all that. Okay, so I'm going to include the ADM and I'm going to include the DAs in what we're doing tonight. I'm going to assume that the team that we're creating the board we're going to create for, we're going to add the ADM and the DAs, because I want to carry you along in what we're doing. Most of the questions we've had over the weeks is, oh, so what exactly do we do here? Or so what exactly is our role here and all that we're carrying along? Because if you have a project, a software that you're developing that has to do with database and all that, definitely they need you as a data analyst in that team to be able to do what you can do also, or advise your expertise that you can put into whatever is being being built and all that. So we would carry you along, and definitely will carry the ADM along, because you're part of the people that access that board and do one or two things on the board also. So we'll create a wiki page, we'll set up the retrospective board also. Okay, so let's give it a start. So after that, okay, so earlier on I was talking about an invite that you will get. So this is normally the invite you will get in your email inbox. So you will get an invite like this. So if you're getting something like this, or you've received it already, all you need to do is just to click on the join now, and then follow is user friendly. You just follow the instruction as it goes along with the right details and all that, in order to be able to access the board. Okay, so just thought I would show us that, and that is the URL of the organization. So for those of you that have joined, this is the URL you will find that we're using. And okay, so this is another very important one that I want to say. So a lot of us that have been able to kind of scale through, you've put your emails in, you've generated your password and all that. Once you get to this, once you can see this on your screen, this message is saying, oops, something went wrong. Okay, once you see this message, yeah, and you can see Blue Sky Citadel here, know that you're already inside the organization. Where you are not yet is on your project board, because your project board has not been set up yet by your Scrum Master. So a lot of people get to this place and they are like, oh, there's something is wrong. They said something is wrong and all that. Please don't overwhelm admin once you can see this. So I'm assuring you that once you can see this, you're seeing the right thing. So the moment your Scrum Masters create your board, add you onto the project, then automatically once you log in again using your personal login details, you would go straight to your project board when your project board has been created. So as I was using the example of an organization, so you get into the organization, they've given you the fob key and all that, you go to your floor level and everything, you don't know where your seat is because you've not been shown your seat yet and all that. So that is where we are here. Okay, so don't be alarmed if you see this. It's normal, it's okay. All right. Okay, so that's that for that. At this point, I'm tempted not to ask for any questions so that we don't waste time. Do you agree with me? So that we can just go on the board and do what we need to do. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, it's okay.
All right, good. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to stop this and then I will take you to the board now. Okay, so this is the organization. Always make sure you check your URL to ensure that you are in the right organization. So I'm just going to highlight this, not because I want to copy it, but just to show you that we're in the right organization. So you can see that you'll have the HTTPS, you have all that, the dev.azure.com/ and then you have Blue Sky Citadel team. Okay, so that is our URL that we'll be using. All right, so once we come here, we can see other projects that has been created. So the first thing we want to do, out of everything I've listed that we needed to do, the first thing we want to do right now is to create our board. Okay, we want to create a project board. All right, so and you can see on my right side at the top over here, if you can see my cursor moving, you can see new projects highlighted in blue with a plus sign over there. Okay, so that's where you need to go to. And once we click on that, please let's stay muted, please. Thank you.
Go and meet daddy, go. Leave me alone.
Hello. All right, thank you. Please let's try as much as possible to stay muted so that we don't like I said, get distracted or distract other people. Okay, thank you. So once you click on that, let me close this again. I clicked on this that says new project over here, and then it gives you this pop-up window and you can see create new project. Okay, so I'm going to use our team, yeah, to create a project. So I'm going to say 2024.
Sorry, before we go forward, can you come back on that, please?
Okay. All right, I'm going to close it again, but I'm doing it for the last time, please, so that we don't waste time. Yeah.
All
On
right.
the right hand side at the top over here. Okay. So that's where you want to click on. That's the button for you to create a new project. So once you click on this one, it gives you this, it opens this window for you. And then you can see create new projects. And it's asking us now for the project name. And I said, we're just going to use this team as our team. So I'm going to say the name of this. Normally the project name will also be your team name. And that was why Bolu was getting you to give a name to your team. Okay, so but I don't want to use any team, so that the scrum masters are the ones that are going to do that. So but this team now, we're calling ourselves 2024, let me just say 2024 January internship, so that at least that would, okay, so that's the name of our team. Now what we will put here normally is what your team is doing. Okay, so it could be that your mandate is to do one thing or the other, and everything you can put that in your description to describe who your team is. So for this one, I'm just going to say okay, so we'll just put it that way. Just know that the description is just to talk about what your team is all about. So anybody coming on this board and looking at things are able to understand what this team is all about with that description. Okay, so when we move from there, we're coming to the next level here, the one that says visibility. So you can see that you have two visibility, but by default, once you open this, the visibility is always highlighted to the private. Okay, and then you have the one for the public. So I'm just going to explain to you what that means. Those are the two types of projects that you can create on Azure DevOps. Okay, so with the public one, if you pick the public one, then your project is visible to everyone. Okay, everyone, irrespective
Sorry.
of where they are, if they have the URL, they can access the organization. Okay, and they can see your board. So this is an organization now. You can see it's highlighted, the Blue Sky Citadel team. That's an organization. So once I click, if I choose to put it on public, yeah, what I'm doing is I'm making this project, this organization, open to anyone that has the URL. That's one of the things. So no login is required. Once they have the URL, they can do whatever they want to do. And it has its own unique, URL. So it won't close anything. This padlock on it will not close anything once you create that project on it. It's open because it's open to everyone. Please, let's stay muted. Please. Let's try and stay muted because of other people. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so it has its own unique URL, like I said, and then it's mainly used for projects that are based on open source. So there's some projects that are based on open source. Maybe somebody is trying to, there are some projects where or some organizations that just want to use it for learning purposes. So if Azure itself wants to use a particular project for learning purposes, I said Azure, Microsoft, to teach people and all that, they can use the open one. They will know that they won't put anything sensitive or any information or data for people on it that would be a breach to the data law. Okay, so you can use the public one for that, but we're going to keep to the private one because we know that this is Blue Sky Citadel is a private organization. You're in an organization, so definitely they will use a private one. They won't use a public one. So we're going to leave it at the default where it is as a private one. Okay. And then you have the advanced over here, still in the same pop-up, you have the advanced. So there's some advanced setting also that you have to keep to. So if we click on that, it's going to open up. And if we scroll down, you can see version control. So the version control that you have there is Git, also, which is cloud-based. And then you have, sorry, this thing is blocking again. Just bear with me, let me move it away. Okay. All right, so if I click on the gate again, it opens. So you have gate, and then you have team foundation version control. So this was what Azure was using initially. So there are some organizations that are still using Azure, and they are still on this TFVC. So that's why they still have it there, but at least they've upgraded to Git, which most people are now using, and that's why by default also that is the one that you have over here already picked. Now, the work item process is the one that is different. So under the work item process, you have Agile, you have Basic, you have CMMI, you have Scrum, and we know that we're picking Scrum because we're using Scrum framework, isn't it, for most of our projects. So you can pick, you're picking Scrum is a process, and we'll explain that as we go along. So we want to pick Scrum, so that's the one we're going to pick, and that's the last thing we need to do before we create this project. So we click on create. Just bear with me, my system is a bit slow because of a lot of things that have opened in the background. Okay, so you can see our project board is created. Okay, so you can see we've created our project board. This is our project board now. You can see that's the 2024 January internship. It will give it a kind of an initial, if I can put it that way, but that is the project, and this is our project board now. Okay, all right, so that is our project board, and then you can see in the corner here it says invite. So this is where it expects you to add your team members. Okay, there are two places that you can add your team members. I'm going to show you both of them, but I'm going to show you this first, and then I'll show you the second one also that you can use to add your team members. But before I go into that, I want to show you some of the things. So you can see it says here, welcome to the project, and it's showing you all the services that you can start your project with. It's telling you have the project boards, you have the repos, you have the pipelines, you have the test plan, and you have the artifacts. Okay, and then you can also customize by managing your services. What do you want there and everything, you're able to do that. Under members here, you can see that I'm the only member on this board for now. That's my initial there because I was the one that created the board. But by the time I add more members in, then you start seeing more initials here. The more you add your members, the more it shows here, and then it will tell you the number of people that are on that project board. Okay, so I'm just going to click here to add more people to my project. You can see is asking for users, and that was why I was trying to explain to us that when you join an organization, the first thing is to use your email to add you as user to the project, which we've done, and a lot of people have received their emails and all that. So if I want to add users, you can see that this organization has a lot of users because all I have to do is just to click into the box, and it's bringing up suggestions for me. Okay, so I'm just going to use the people that we did the role play together yesterday, so that just to give you at least a bit of familiarity to what we're doing. So I'm going to add Bolu there because Bolu is already on here. By the time I type Bolu, it's going to bring up Bolu's details because Bolu had already accepted the invite that has been sent to her. Okay, so I'm going to add Bolu. To that, I'm going to add Tommy. I hope Tommy is here. Yes. Okay, so that's Tommy. I've added Tommy to that. I'm going to add Abimbola. That's Abimbola. I've added Abimbola to that. I'm going to add Rita. That's Rita. I'm not sure Adetunji is here, but let's give it a try. Yes, he's here also. So I just want to use the same people that we used yesterday so that you know that we're there. So once I've done that, and then I can click on add at the bottom. At the bottom of that pop-up, I can click on add. Okay, remember you click on invite, it gives you the pop-up. You put your, if you don't have the names already for your own situation, it might be the email address that you need to put in. That's if your team members have not added themselves to the organization. Go through the normal channel that the invitation directs them to go through so they can add them now. Okay, you see that initially it was just myself. Now we have 6 members, and you can see all their initials there. They've been added to this particular project board. Okay, so that's one way you can add your member. Another way you can add your member is to, because at times it's not all the time that you want to use this. So another way you can add your member, if you come to the bottom, the left panel, at the bottom of the left panel, I'm moving my cursor so that you can see. At the bottom of the left panel, you can see project settings, which we're going to go to anyway. So once I click on that, with me, it brings you here, and then it gives you the information. You can see what we said during the description. It's put it there. So let's assume that you feel that, oh, I've not put enough description, I still want to put more things there that talks about specifically about our team and all that. You can still add that. You can see all you need to do is click in, add whatever you want to write. I'm just going to write things just so you know that you can still do that, and then you can see the save button at the bottom here. Okay. Also, if you want to edit the name of your team, so maybe while you were doing it, you made a mistake initially when we saved it, and you want to edit the name of your team, you're able to do that also. Clicking into the box again, I'm just going to write some few things and all that. You can see that you can edit it, and then you can save over here after doing that. So I'm just going to delete this out because we're okay with that project name. So that's just to show you that. Okay. So before I go into all the settings here, I just quickly, like I said, want to show you how you can add your team members to this project board. Okay. So if you go on your left panel over here, again, I'm moving my cursor so that you can see the teams here. So if you click on teams over there, okay, it comes here to show you that that's your team. That's the only team that is on this project. And then if you click on your own project, it's showing you members, and you can see everybody we've added. It's showing you their name. It's showing you the type of a user that they are, and it's showing you their email address. So if I come here and I still want to add my member, all I have to do is click on add, and then it gives you the same pop-up we had when we're doing it on the other side. And then you're able to add your member. So I'm just going to add Allow Me here because I wanted you to see how this works also. Okay, so Allow Me is our ADM. I'm adding Allow Me to our project because she's our ADM. Okay, and then you can save, and you'll see Allow Me going also on this page. You can see successfully added one member to the team, and that's Allow Me's name there. So you can go through here or through the beginning where we added the names. Okay, so for adding names, do we have any question quickly before we move ahead?
No, thank
Yeah,
you.
I've
Okay.
got one
No
question, please.
question. Let's move on. No question. Nobody raise up their
Right, a
hand.
quick
Yeah,
one,
I've got
please.
one
Quick one.
question. Sorry. Yeah, I've got
You
one
need to raise
question.
your hand if you
Oh,
have to.
sorry. Yes, I've already raised
Quickly.
my hand. Okay, my question is about the adding. I'm just asking, can we add or invite through a link? It's maybe like, like that Zoom, the Zoom meeting. Can we add them through a link by sending them a link or?
No, you have to do it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to do the Scrum Master has to do it. Let me put it that way. Okay, so because I have the permission as an admin on this project, yeah, I can see this in blue. If you do not have a permission, it's not going to highlight this in blue. It's going to gray it out so that you can't use it. Because we don't want team members to be adding different people. It's your responsibility as a Scrum Master to add people to the project. And that's why you'll be the one to be given the admin right to do that. Because I have the admin right, that's why it's showing me in blue. If I don't have the admin right, this will be grayed out, and I'll be clicking on it and it won't do anything because I don't have the right permission to do that. Okay, so it will be the Scrum Master alone that can do that for obvious reasons that we know. Okay, so that we don't have different things happening. As you can see there, that's my name, and you can see admin there. That's why I'm able to, excuse me, do that. Okay, so all right, let's go to the next step. We want to get to the aspect of configuring.
I raised my hand.
All right, quickly.
Okay, so I have two
Aminat,
questions. Yeah.
you're on. Oh yeah, ask a question.
Okay. So can you create your own work item process? Because I saw when you click the advanced button, I was able to see the name of some other groups aside the Scrum and everything.
Yeah,
So did you
that's the
create
place
that
we're
yourself?
going to. That's the
Okay.
next set. That's the next process we're going into, and then I'll be
Okay,
able to
so
explain that.
all right, the last one. So are you going to be talking about the other items I saw, like the board, repos, pipeline, test plan, and
No,
artifacts?
I'll talk about the board because that's the Scrum Master's side. When it comes to the pipeline and the repo and all that, the tutor that will be teaching you will come on this board also, and will be able to talk you through the pipelines, which will be mainly for the keyways anyway. It has nothing to do with you as a Scrum Master and all that. Is a feature for the keyways
I'm not
and
a
the
Scrum Master,
developers.
I'm a DA, but I just want to
You're
know.
a DA, okay, yeah. Okay, so the mentor, or not, let me not see the mentor, let me use the word the tutor for the keyways would put them through how they use the pipeline on Azure DevOps and what they use it for. Okay.
Sorry, I also raised up my hand.
If we take too much question, we won't be able to cover this thing tonight. Okay, let's go. Please let this be the last one so that we can go to the next process. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Adesola, put down your hand.
Okay, I just want to ask. You said at the beginning that when we are creating a new project, when you added the description, are we gonna be given a description to put on? I know you said about you're gonna put your team name on the when you're creating it, but are we gonna or are we just gonna use any description that comes to our mind, or are we gonna be given
Okay, you can't use any description that comes to your mind. You have to know what your team is all about. What is your team working on? Yeah. You have to have, okay, so the PO definitely would tell the team. And that's why I also showed us that even if you put anything there, if you even if you put a team in blue ties, Citadel and all that, that was why I used the word that when you have more information about your team, you can go back there and edit that description. And I showed us how we can do that. So even if you don't have full information about what your team is all about, the mandate, the project mandate, this is what you're working on, this is what your delivery is all about, and all that, is something that you can still go back to and you can edit it. Some don't even put anything initially because maybe they don't have the information. They leave it like that. If you don't put anything, it will still create your board for you. That place will just be blank. And then when you have the right information, you can as well just come back and put it in.
So are we gonna be given what we'll be working on? Sorry.
Definitely you would be.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, okay, so let's go to the next process. So we want to customize the project on Azure using the inherited process. So there's something, I showed us the basic process that we have, and that is Agile, we have the CMMI, we have the basic, and the Scrum. Those were the four. And then you're able to create your inherited process. And you ask me, why do we need to create an inherited process? Okay, so you create an inherited process so that you can customize and configure your own project to suit the needs of your team. Okay, so let's assume now, that this is a board for an organization. Let's assume now that in our own project, we're going to work again, like as I use the the 8 DAs. Let's assume that there's a particular project and you're going to be dealing with a lot of data. Okay, and you need the DA to be there, and the DA needs to have a board and all that. So you're going to customize your own project board to have a DA's column and all that. Now, if we use the generic Scrum that is there, whatsoever you customize or you configured on your board will reflect on every board that is using the Scrum process. And you don't want that. So that's why you create an inherited process from Scrum to say, okay, we are creating this inherited process so that whatever we configure stays on our own board. Yeah, it doesn't transfer to other people's board. And then what other people are doing on their own board also, depending on how they've customized it based on the project they are working on, is not coming on your own board. Okay, so we're doing this with this training right now. Most times when you get to the organization, they've already configured everything, especially if it's not an organization that is just picking Azure DevOps to use. They've been using Azure DevOps and all that. So everything has already been configured. You're just a Scrum Master going there and everything. But we take this from the scratch so that when you go to that organization and all that, you you don't need their basic fundamental knowledge because you have it here already. And then you're able to confidently and freely work on the board because you have all this understanding and all those things that we're doing. Okay, so that's why we take it from scratch. So most times, like I said, it might already have been done by the engineering team for that organization, the infrastructure team, or the IT team, depending on what they call their IT department. They would have done all that already before you joined the team because they've been using it before you become either a Scrum Master, a DA, an ADM, a QA that joined the team. Okay, so that's what we want to do now. We want to create an inherited process so that we're able to, like I said, customize our board to what we want so that we are not affecting other people's projects with our own projects, if that's okay. All right, and then for us to do that, quickly, I'm just going to open this up again. Okay, so for us to do that, we need to go to the organization. So the organization, like I said here, this is the project. That's not your organization, okay? This is your project, but your organization is Blue Sky Citadel. Okay, that's the organization. Two ways you can get to your organization, either through here or you go to your own project settings. Okay, once we get to the project settings, actually not through the project settings, the best way to get to it is here. So is either you're clicking on this one or you're clicking on here, it will take you to your organization. Okay, either this Azure DevOps logo that you have there can take you to your organization, or the name of your organization, which you will know, which is this, can also take you to your organization. So if you click on Blue Sky Citadel team, yeah, that is the organization, that is our project, that's all other projects that are on this organization, but that is our own project. So it's here, is here because we've just created this, but you can see it in the list also, is the third one here in the list. Okay, so right now we're on the organization. So on this left panel again, okay, that's where my cursor is moving. On this left panel, you go to the bottom here where you have organization settings. Okay, two ways that you can do your process. You can either go through there, yeah, if we click over here, and then you have this panel, this left panel is giving you this left panel, so you don't need to change anything here. Remember, this is the organization, you don't need to change anything here. So on this left panel, just scroll down, you see the general, that's the first one, you see security, and then you see boards, and then you see process underneath board. That's what we're coming to click on over here. I'm going to show you another way that you can get to this without coming here. Okay, all right, so there's another one that I want to show you. Let's go back to projects. I think that one actually will be better than you coming to all the organization. Let's go back to our project over here. Okay, you can again see the process here. And what did it say our process is? It says our process is Scrum. So you can either go through the organization to get to it, or you can come here on your project board also, which I think would be preferable for everyone so that we don't go and disturb things on the organization side. So just come on your project details page, which you will get to by clicking the project setting at the bottom, which we did to bring you here. And then the process we want to change, we don't want this Scrum. We don't want to use Scrum. We want to create an inherited process. So what you do is you click on the Scrum. And then it brings you here. So once it brings you here, when you click on that Scrum, the next place you need to go to, so where it has brought you to is you can see all processes, but it's showing us the Scrum one. So we want to see the projects that are under Scrum. Okay, the Scrum process. We want to see the projects that are under it. And where you come to is on this header, you can see that this one is showing you work item types. This is where we're coming to. We're coming to this one that says project here. So if I click on that, it's going to show me these are all the projects that are under what is it called? That are under Scrum. And you can see our own projects there also. And in front of our own project, you can see these three dots. So we call these three dots, we call them ellipses. Okay, so this might be the last time I call them three dots. I'll be using the right technical terms because we're in a work environment. Okay, so we click on that and then we say change process because that's what we want. Okay, so we need to create our process first before we change it. Sorry about that. So let me go to Scrum. Okay, I need to go back to the organization actually. Organization settings. Let's use the process here. Process. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me go back. All right, I'm just going to go back to our project so that we know where to come to. Okay, so go back to the project. I want to go on the project itself. Bear with me. So this is our project. So we are on our project now, yeah? And we want to go to organization settings. We come to Blue Sky Citadel up here. We click on this. It takes us to the organization, and then we go to organization setting at the bottom of the left panel. You click on the organization there, okay? And then it brings you to the setting here. You can see the left panel again here. So all
Please,
you need.
you are too fast. I can't get it. Please calm down a bit. Please, sorry. I'm lost.
All right, I'm going to go to the project again. So that's our project. Do you understand up to this point? Hello.
Yes, you understand. Yes, I understand. I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So once you're here, you want to go to the organization, and your organization is Blue Sky Citadel team. It's up here. Can you see it's on the left at the top where my cursor is moving from?
I can see it.
Okay. So you click on that and it takes you to your organization's page. You can see all the projects that are under this organization. So for you to go to where the process is, you come to the left panel here. So this is a panel. The left panel here, you go to the bottom, you can see organization settings.
Organization, yes.
So you click on that. If you can stay muted, please, because of the recording. Yeah, I'll be a bit slow, but just bear with me. Okay, so once you click on that, it brings you to the overview here. So that's the organization settings that we clicked at the bottom. We're there now on that page. And still on the left panel, yeah, if you scroll down, okay, so it's not just limited to these few things you can see. If we scroll down, please, can you stay muted, please? All right, thank you. So once you're scrolling down, you get to a place where you see boards and you can see process underneath it. And that's what we want to click on. So if we click on that, it shows us the process. This was what somebody asked the question earlier on, that when I clicked on advanced, they were able to see the standard process, and then they could see other process. Okay, so you can see that under Scrum, so you have basic, you have agile, you have Scrum, and under Scrum you can see inherited process that other people have created. So you can see that this is a private, that's the one that shows us the type of project it is a private one, and then they've created inherited process. They've created the process underneath the Scrum here. So for us to do that, if you put your cursor and you hover it where the Scrum is, if I remove it now, you can see that highlighted like a gray line going across. So if you put it here also, you can see the ellipses here. So if I don't put it there, you won't see the ellipses by the Scrum. But if you put it back there, you can see the ellipses there. So you want to click on that ellipsis. Right now, another thing that I need to quickly tell you is under Scrum, you can see that there are 4 projects that are under that Scrum. So let's come here. Let's click on this ellipsis. and then it will give you this little window. So if I click out of it, I'm just going to click out of it. And then if I go back there and click on it, I just want to show you what happens when you click on the ellipses. It gives you this little window. And in that little window, you can see it says create inherited process. And that's what we've come here to do. So I'm going to click on that. And then it brings me a bigger window that is asking me for the name of this process. So you can name your project as the name of your process. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to say 2024, bear with me, January internship Scrum. That's what I want to call the name of our inherited process. Okay, so we're calling it 2024, which is the name of our team, and we're just adding Scrum to it to say that this is our own Scrum process. Okay, if you want to put description, blah 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 blah. Oh, sorry, I've not clicked on where I need to put the description. So if I want to put description on it and all that, we want this team to follow a particular, you're able to put anything you want to put in there. Okay, so let me not do the blah blah thing. Let's say okay. So I've just put that this is the process we want to follow to customize our project. Yeah, and then you create it, create process at the bottom. So if I click on that, okay, so you can see that's our inherited process. You can see that is there. We've created it, is there, and the description I've given it is there also. But notice that there's no project underneath it yet. Can you see that? Yeah, there's no project underneath it. So you've created it, but you need to put the project on it. It's not just about creating it alone. So the next thing we want to do now is to move our project away from Scrum and put it on the process that we have created. Okay, so for us to do that, we need to go back to our project. Okay, so this is our project here. We pick our project. So to pick your project from the organization, on this left panel, just click on project over here, and then it will give you the page for where all the project names are. You can see there are lots of them, all the project names. So just look for your project over there. So this is our project. You can see when we created it, which is today. It says our process is Scrum, which we want to change, and it says our visibility is private. All right. So we click on that, and then we'll come to where we have the process here. So this is what we want to change. So when I click on this Scrum, because we don't want to use Scrum any longer, yeah, it's going to open this page for us. And it's still, you can see that our process is Scrum, and that's what we want to change. So we're going to come on to projects here. So there are some projects on Scrum, and ours is there, and that's why we need to come to in order to change it. So I'm going to, on the header, you have work item types page, which is where we are. You'll have the backlog levels page. We're not going there yet. And then the project one is where we want to go to, so that we can change our process. And you can see that earlier on we saw 4 projects. These are the 4 projects that are under this Scrum. If we leave this process without creating an inherited process, whatever we do, we configure on our project board is going to affect this project here. It's going to affect this project here. It's going to affect this project there. And because we don't want that, is why we've created the inherited process, so that we move out of here and be on a process that we have carved out, if you can put it that way, for ourselves. So again, we come to the ellipses here. We click on it, and it says change process. Yes, that's what we want to do. And then we click on that. And over here, it's saying select a target process. That's why we have to create our process first before coming to change it. And then you click on the drop down here. So this box open for you to change your process. And then you click on the drop down there and look for your inherited process. And you can see that's our own inherited process. It's the 2024 January internship Scrum. So if you click on it and then you say save, Okay, you can see it's telling you this project is now using the 2024 internship Scrum process. Okay, so we've been able to do that. So we can now close that. Once we close that, okay, so this is still Scrum, but you can see our project is no longer on it. Yeah, that's because we've changed it. So if you go to all process, again, you can see now that under 2024 January internship Scrum, there is one project on it, which is our project now that we've moved on to it. And the one for Scrum, you can see it was 4 before, now is 3. Okay, so that is how you change your process. Or you create your inherited process, and then you change your process from Scrum onto your inherited process. So that's another part done. Any question before we go to other things we need to do? Quickly, please.
I'm raising my hand up Friday.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, Moji. Thank you so much. Just a quick question with this inherited process. I know I was noting it down. Please, what is the meaning of this inherited process?
I thought I explained that before I did it. Anybody wants to answer her? Let's see if she's the only one that doesn't understand. If there's anybody else that wants to be, anybody wants to explain to her what the inherited process is and why we had to create it.
I did.
Hello. You said
Hi.
that we should create an inherited process so that we can customize the project board to have the DS column.
Not just the DS column. I use the DS column as an example.
Okay.
Okay, so
Hi.
yeah. Somebody else wants to give it a try?
Yes, please.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
we create inherited process so that we don't disrupt the Scrum framework for everybody else, because whatever we put on our Scrum board will, if it's the default Scrum, it will affect everyone else using Azure DevOps and using the Scrum framework. So to protect everyone else and keep our own board customized, we use an inherited process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is that clear? I can't remember. I don't know the name.
So that's to protect, is fine here. That's to protect all the team members' work here.
Yeah,
No,
to protect, not to
yes.
protect your team members' work, but to prevent you from disrupting another project's board.
Yes, thank you.
Is that clear?
Very much so.
So that anything you do on your board stays on your board. It doesn't go into other people's board. They don't start seeing the same configuration or customization affecting their own board also. Okay, so all right, the next thing we want to do is that we want to go to our dashboard settings and set things on our dashboard. So we're going back to our own projects. I'm just going to click our project from here.
Please, I'm raising my hand, please.
All right, quickly, please.
Okay, thank you. I just want to know, isn't that a bit complicated if for every project that I am setting up, I will have to create an inherited process in order not to disrupt another project that is already on the board? Isn't that a setting that protects each project from other projects?
Okay,
So
yeah, I explained earlier on that mostly when you get into the organization, this you want to be doing, okay? It will have been done already. Everything would have been set up already, because they don't want everybody to come in and start doing the same thing. So they would have created, they would have done all the inherited process they needed to do and all that. But I'm saying we're taking it from scratch so that you have the knowledge. You get to an organization and then you get, you're a Scrum Master, and then you get maybe the PO telling you that, okay, so our project was not working with we were not using this before. We want to configure our board to do this and that and that. The first question I want to ask the infrastructure team, because they've told me as a Scrum Master who is the administrator of the board, and what I want to know from the infrastructure team is I want to add this to our own setup. Is it okay? Is it going to affect anybody? So you need to have that knowledge before you go ahead and do what the the PO said you should do. And when you do that, they know that, okay, this person knows what he's talking about. This person has the fundamental knowledge of what the Azure board is. So they can tell you, oh, don't go ahead. We've set it up in such a way that no matter what you do, it won't affect anybody anyway. And then you can go ahead and do what you want to do, because you don't want a situation where you do something on your own project board, like I said, and then somebody else is affected. So this is just, you won't do it. Don't get me wrong. You won't do settings in every organization you work in. It's already done. They've already set their thing.
That's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Cool.
Please, ma, I have I have an issue with my network. Please, I don't know, how did you move the projects to the inherited projects, please? I don't. Can you come again, please? Thank you.
You'll have to watch that in the video, else we won't leave here today. It's recorded, yeah? So just play the video and watch it there. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for agreeing to do that. Okay. All right, so let's go to the other one. So we just want to go on up. All right, go ahead. Last one before we go to the next process, please. Thanks.
There is a disruption from someone else's board. Is there a way to stop it from like our own end?
From your own end, you might not be able to stop it. That's if you are all on the same process, you won't be able to stop it. And if you see it and you're wondering how did this one get here and everything, and you delete it, it affects them also. Something gets deleted on their own end also. Do you understand? So that's why it's just better to carve out your own project board with your process. But if you're on the same process, whatever you do on one project affects the other project board. If you're on the same process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we're going back to our projects. And what we want to do here now is to set our dashboard. So mainly where we'll come to is where we do most of our setup, our configuration, our default setting is on this left panel here. Not everything, but some of it. So under general here, you can see dashboards here. Okay, so if we click on that dashboard, what you're going to get on part of your project, what you're going to get, some of the features you have on your project board is a dashboard. The dashboard is just a blank canvas where you can generate all your charts on and put your charts to. So we want to set it by default. This is the way it comes. Okay, so you have to set it. You can see the create dashboard is off. So if you don't set it, that means you're not able to create a dashboard. So what we want to do is to activate the toggle. Just turn it on here, click here, it turns it off. You want to create your dashboard. You want to be able to edit your dashboard, but you don't want to turn on delete dashboard, because a member of your team can go there and mistakenly delete that dashboard. It's gone. So if you come here to dashboard, just turn on create the dashboard so that you're able to create a dashboard. Turn on edit your dashboard so that you can edit the charts or the metrics that are on your dashboard, but don't turn on the delete the dashboard. Again, I'm saying this as a Scrum Master. If you need a project board, you might need to do all this. Again, an organization, they might have done that already because they don't want people to, do that even while they're just coming in or anything like that. They might have just configured everything. But again, like I'm saying, have the fundamental knowledge. It helps you when you get to an organization. Okay, so that is the dashboard aspect done. I think is the quickest of all of them. So for security purposes, don't turn on leave the delete dashboard inactive for security purposes, like I said, so that at least you don't get things deleted on your dashboard and all that. So is that okay? All right, let's go to the next one. So that's sorted. So the next one we want to go into is the project configuration. So we've started the configuration, and that's why the first thing we did was to create our inherited process. So whatever we configure now stays with our own project. They are normally basic things anyway that you see on all the projects and all that, but we've done what we need to do. So we come to project configuration, which is at the bottom of your dashboard. Again, your project settings. So we want to configure our project now. So if I click on that, it brings us to this page. Okay, it brings us to this page. All right, and you can see it says to select iteration for the team, go to the default team setting. Okay, we can see that here, and that's what we want to sort out. We want to configure that. So if I click on that, two ways you can do it. You can click on it from projects configuration. I'll go back here. You can click on it from project configuration. You can also just go to team configuration, because what you want to configure is your team. So you can click on it here, get to it through this link, or go straight to it here. So I'm showing us the different options to get to what you want to do. Now, for your backlog level, so we're going on the general one first. For your backlog level, you can see that the only two that are activated is your features and your backlog, but you will be using your Epic. So these are your navigation levels. So you want to also activate your Epic. So what you're saying here, this works more with everybody, not just the BAs, is that you want to link your Epic to your feature, to your backlog items, which is your user story. So that's what we've done. So we're going to the working days. So for us, it's just for your capacity and your burn down charts. You need to also configure this. But you're working just Monday to Friday. Most organizations work Monday to Friday. So by default, you just have it as Monday to Friday. So we're going to leave this one like this. We're not going to deactivate any of the Monday to Friday, and we're not going to activate the Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And then you come down to the last one, which again, by default, it's okay, but I'm just going to go through it. So it says working with bugs. So you're going to work with bugs. Your keywords are going to create bugs and all that. Now, what he's saying is, how do you want to work with the bugs? Do you want to manage your bugs with requirements? That is with the user stories. Do you want to manage your bugs with the user story? Do you want to manage your bugs with tasks? Or do you want to manage your bugs? Your bugs are managed on the backlog and on the boards. So we're going to leave it with manage our bugs with requirement, which is with our user story. What we're saying there is, once they are testing that user story and there's any defects they find on the website, they're able to create a bug on that user story. So that's why that is the option that we're picking. Keyways, by the time you start working, you get into the practical aspect of things, you would understand this aspect more. But that's where we want to work with the bugs more rather than on the task, because the story is the one you're testing. That's where your acceptance criteria is. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave that one. Okay, so that's our configuration on that one sorted on that first page, which is the general. So we're going to go to the iteration one. Okay, and there are some things we need to change here also. So what default iteration means is, by default, when this board was made, it says at current iteration. So any story that the BAs create in the backlog, it automatically goes onto your sprint if you don't come here to change the configuration. So let's assume we leave it here, we don't change anything, and the BAs are creating stories on the backlog, it just automatically goes into your sprint. So you'll see a situation where you've just taken, let's say, 5 stories into the sprint, and then you start seeing more stories. Your stories are becoming 10, and you're wondering, what happened? We committed to 5 stories. Why is it turning to 10? It's because this has not been done. So for every current iteration you're in, It just keeps taking the story into the iteration. And then, like I said, your stories are just getting more and more. You're wondering what's going on. So to change that, you come over here to the front here, click on this link for change. Okay. And then take it onto your backlog. So the name of your project backlog is this 2024 Jan internship. That's the backlog name. So I'm going to click that's where all the stories should be going into, rather than them going on to the sprint. And then you click on set. So if I just click on that without clicking on set, I have not changed it yet. So once I click on set, that's when it changes it to that. And you can see, like I said, your backlog's name is 2024. So both the backlog and the default iteration are on the backlog. So anything the BAs are creating, they stay in the backlog. They don't go on to the sprint. Okay, I hope that is clear. And then another thing I want to show you is, because the Scrum, there are some general settings that has been done initially on the organization. You can see that automatically we weren't the one that set this few sprints. You can see that automatically it sets the name of all the sprints, at least from sprint 1 to sprint 6. It set it already. And that's because the admin had set that has been configured generally on the organization level of things, which, like I said, is some of the things you'll find in the workplace out there. So if you are going to go more than 6 sprints, then you have to do that yourself. But if it's giving you 6 already, the only thing now that needed to be added to all this sprint name it has given you is the date when you get to that sprint. When you're creating your board and all that, you're able to create that. Okay, so that's done. I'm not sure we need to configure anything in area, because the area is just telling you that your area path is your 2024 Jan internship. That's the default area path, and that's the right area path that you have. These ones you start seeing on your stories, user stories, when you have it, to telling you your area path, just to show you that this is the project. This is the area. Your area path is your project. Okay. So that's what that is. And then the template one also, we're going to go into this one later on, but I don't want to jump things. Okay. So any questions so far? At least where we've gotten to now.
Sorry, Moji, I'm a bit
Yes.
lost.
Okay.
I'm following
Tell me where
along.
you got lost.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm following along on my own as you're going, just to follow it. But when you go to the general, how you got the boards? I don't know how you got the boards, because I can't
Which
find
board?
it on my.
The board
You
at
know
the
when
top
you.
here.
Yes.
Your left panel. That's the board.
Yeah, if I'm clicking it on mine, they're not opening.
Okay, so on yours, which one is yours? You have a personal board that you're creating?
As you're going along, I'm creating a board on the
Azure DevOps through the account you've gotten. Okay, so you
Yes.
won't be able to. Are you a Scrum Master?
No.
Okay,
I'm
so
a
that's
BA.
why you are not able to do that. Okay, so even though we've allowed you to join the organization, there are some things you won't be able to do because you don't have the permission to do it. And that's what is happening. And that's why it's only the Scrum Master. We've said it's only the Scrum Master that creates a board.
I see. Even on mine, it's not showing the Blue Sky Citadel. It's just showing dev.az.com and then my
Azure.com.
name.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's your personal, that means you've created a personal project for yourself.
All right.
Yeah. But did you go through the link that was sent to you?
Yeah, it was through the link that I signed up. I don't know if this gave me a private one, but I can't see what's it called again? I can't see
Okay.
Blue Sky
All
on
right.
it.
So that we don't waste time. Another thing I just want to quickly explain is there will be workshops for the Scrum Masters though on what you need to do. And also let's train the Scrum Masters, and then when you have any issue, the Scrum Masters are able to help you out, because that's part of what they need to do. They need to resolve impediments. So we don't want to do that for them. So I would advise everyone, rather than doing it as I'm going along, just observe. I said it initially when I started, while I was doing the introduction. Initially, we were just doing this Azure DevOps setup for just the Scrum Masters alone, because they're the ones that set up the board. But we found out that other team members don't really understand how the board is, how the board works. And that's why we've now made it for everyone to join, not because you need to create a board, but you just need to have a knowledge of how the board works. What are the things on the board? Okay, so please don't create a board through the link that you've received or that you've gotten. That's the problem you're having now. If you're not a Scrum, even if you're a Scrum Master, you can't use your personal login details to create a board. We'll still have to have a section with you separately, just Scrum Masters alone, when we tell you what you need to do that, to be able to create your project board. So this session is just for you to have the knowledge, the basic knowledge. So please, I am not a Scrum Master. Don't create project board through the invites that you've received, because that invite is for Blue Sky, Citadel team, organization. You can create an Azure DevOps organization for yourself in order to use it to learn things, but that should be outside that link that you get. That is you going on Azure DevOps website itself, picking a free, I think a free trial one, and then just using it to learn. And again, I would advise that it's the Scrum Masters that are doing that, not a BA, not a QA, not a DA, because in an organization, you will not create a project board. It's not your responsibility, not one of your responsibilities. Okay.
Please, man, let me ask this real quick, man. Please, you were talking because at first time we were talking about project configuration, and I see now that we're under the team configuration now. Is it the
Sorry,
same thing?
most of you that you are
Yes.
talking, you didn't raise up your hand. Those that raise up their hand, they are not talking. Why are you bridging the agreement?
Okay. My PA, don't get my PA angry this night, please. All right, let me quickly answer that question.
Sorry for that, please. Sorry for that.
All right, no problem. That's fine. Okay, so since we've started, I've been showing you two ways that you can do things, that you can set up things. Okay, so you can either go through the project, like I said earlier, you can either go through the project configuration. I'll show you what happens now. So if you go through the project configuration, you can see this link here. It says to select iteration for the team, go to the default team setting. If I click on the team setting, can you see what happened? Yeah, it brings you here. So you can either go through that link or just come down here to configure what you need to configure. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right. So please, let's remove the mark. Yeah, thank you. I just want us to get used to work environment language. Okay, so we've done that here. So the next thing we want to do now, I think we've done let me see, have we done all the configuration? We've done the team setting. Okay, so let's go to our board. Let's create our board. If we need to come back here for any other thing, we'll come back here. We'll still need to come back here anyway. But for now, let's go to our board. Let's set up the Teams board, how it's supposed to look. We've done a bit of setup here, but I think that's good enough for us. Okay. So now, please concentrate. To go to your board, there are two ways you can do it. There are two left panels that we can see here. This big one that has project settings on it. There's another tiny one. Can you see the one I'm scrolling on? There's another tiny one that has all these icons. Let me use that over here. And all these icons are the features that we have on this project board. Okay. So over here, you have the overview board. Under the overview board, you have summary, you have dashboard, you have wiki. And under the green one, the green icon, you have boards, which is where we're going to. Okay, so if I click on this box now, this green box, Yeah, it's going to open up this panel for me. And once I click on it, the first place it takes you to is the work items. But we don't have any work items yet anyway, and that's not where we're going to. So there's another board again at the bottom. So there is one with the green, which leads you to everywhere. And there is another one, which is this one at the bottom here. So this is the one we're going to. Again, I'm moving my cursor so that you can see. So this is the one we're coming to. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, so by default, this is what you have. So this is our project board now. This is where the columns we have by default, and we just want to customize it to suit our team. So you have the new, which normally refers to your backlog. Okay, you have the approved, you have the committed, and you have the done. So what we want to do is we want to configure this so that every team member has their own column to work in. That's what we want to do. And again, I will refer back to the inherited process. This is why you need an inherited process. So if we had stayed on Scrum, there might be another team. This is okay for them. They don't need all the extras. And another team might want all the extras. So if we stay on the Scrum process and we add all the extras, every project under that Scrum will have all the extras. So that's why we have that inherited process. So that whatever we do, whatever configuration we do stays on our own project board. It doesn't escalate to other project board. Okay. And for us to do that, we come to the right hand side over here. On the right hand side over here, you have some icons on the header. Let's cut this, the header. Over the header, you have boards, analytics, you have view as board. Let's just keep going. You have backlog items, level. That's the level we're in. There are the three levels we um, configured earlier on. These are the, initially the epic was not there. We had to activate it. So now we can see the epic feature and the backlog items. That was why we had to do that. So right now we are on the backlog items board. Okay. And then you have this view options icon. You have the filter icon. We're not going there. We are going to the settings. So you can see configure team settings. This is the one we're going to. This one that looks like an engine, that looks like a cog. That is the one we're coming. Okay, this one is just to get a full screen mode in place. So if you click on it now, it gives us a full screen mode, but we don't want that. So I'm just going to put that down. Yeah, I'm just trying to show us all the things we have here. But the ones we're coming into to do what we need to do is the one that says configure team settings. So if I click on this one, it opens this window up for us. Okay, so and the first thing you see there is it says card. So by default it brings you to the field. We're still going to come to the field to do some configurations there, but the one we want to go to first is the board. So if you come to the board at the bottom here, what we want is to add more columns to the columns that we have on the board already. We want our BAs to have a column. We want our DAs to have our developers to have columns. We want our QAs to have columns. So DAs, I might not create columns for you, and I'll tell you why now. The developers column also is your column because as a DA, you're a developer. Okay, whatever needs to be done as a DA and all that, you do it on the developers column because you are a developer, but you can work on the board also. Again, this is all about teams agreement. Some other teams might decide that, oh, we want to give our DA a board, but I think with Blue Sky, DG will want the DAs to work on the developers column because they are seen also as developers. The QA might not test what you have done because you're dealing with analytics. So um the QAs might not test what you've done. So when you're done with what you're doing under the developers column, preferably what you might need to do is to take it to either, if there's a review, maybe you want your mentor to review what you've done and all that before you take it to the done column. again, is a team's agreement. So your project board is set up. You, as a scrum master, you can't set up your project board outside your team. And even if you set up the initial one, when they start working and they decide, okay, so for DAs, like I said, we want to have a column where we put all our stories that we've worked on, because we want our mentor to check and make sure that we've done the right thing before we take that story to close. So they come and meet you as a scrum master and say, oh, scrum master, we want this and this and this. You learning all these aspects is you going back to this configure setting to add more columns as they want, depending on what they want to your project board. Okay. But for now, let's just take it to BA, developer, QA. Let's do that for now. Okay. All right. So like I said, you will come to this, we'll come to board, and then we'll come to column. And you can see these are the 4 that we've seen. Okay, the ones that are showing underneath before, these are the 4 that are there. Now for us to create new ones, okay, so let me talk about the new one. So under the new one, you can see it says the column name is new, there is state mapping, and then the bug will be showing new. The product backlog item also will be showing new. Okay, so if you want to create another one, all I have to do is to click on this plus sign. Anytime we see plus, is for you to create something. Okay, so when we click on that plus sign, it's giving me a new one. Okay, so what do we want this name to be? Okay, that would be BA. So we want to call it in BA. So in BA column means that any stories that are there, the BAs are working on it. So we call this one in BA. So BAs, that's the column you use, business analyst. Once you move a story in there, as a scrum master, I see that story. Oh, these are what the BAs are working on. These are the active thing they're working on. Okay. And then what we mean by the WIP limit is work in progress limits. Right now, by default, is 5. If we want it to be more than that, all you have to do is change it. So we can change that to 10. So what we're saying is that conveniently 10 product backlog item or user story can sit down in that column. Okay, we don't want to split it. We can split it, but preferably I don't like splitting it. Okay, so and it's still okay, so sorry, before I do this, there's something I need to go and do on the other side. Please bear with me. Sorry about that, because if we don't do that, we'll be going back and forth actually. So yeah, discard. Okay, quickly, let's go back to the project settings. Let's quickly sort some things out here. Sorry about that. It's not as if we can't continue with what we've done, but we'll now be going to the project settings again. And that would be kind of sort of back and forth for us. Okay. So over here, we want to configure. Let me go to the I think it's on the projects configuration. Am I right? No, let me go to the team configuration. Ah, sorry, actually. Overview is what I need. My overview, and I need to go to the process. All right, let me start again. I'm going to go back again because I'm going to go back on our projects and then navigate back to that place so that you have an idea. So you know that normally when you're on your projects, okay, let me go back to that board. I want to show you how I got here. When you're here on your project and you need to set anything up, where you go to is you come to this left panel, you click on project settings, is always at the bottom. If I click on that, is the one that brings us to this project setting page. Okay, and what we want to configure is under our process. So we click on our process over here, and then it brings us here. Okay, so once it brings us here, what we want to, sorry, no, not this one. What we want to configure is work item types. Okay, our work item types is what we want to configure. Okay, so the first one we want to have a look at is product backlog item, which is the user story. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, so once we click on that, this is the way the layout is. This is the layout of the product backlog item. So if you want to add more fields to it, okay, we're able to do that here. All right, if we want to leave it the way it is, fine. So we can look at it and say, okay, so I want to be able to see the QA's name. I want to be able to see the developer, so that I want to be able to put my name as a developer in, or the QA in. You can do that in this layout. And what you need to do is you click on the new field, because it's a new field that you want to add to the layout. So if you click on new field, it brings you here. Okay, so it says create a field. So there are some field that has been, the field we need have been created already. So we don't want to create a new one. We want to just use an existing one and make sure that we put it on our own project. That's what we want to do. So if you click in here to say use an existing one, let's go and look for the existing one that we want to use. Acceptance criteria is already on the board, so we don't need to add this one onto it. So if you scroll down, open it and scroll down. Okay, like I said, what we want to add is we want to be able to see, okay, let me type. We want to see a place for the BA on that place, so that I can put the name of the BA that has worked on it or that is working on it into it. Okay, so if you click BA, you can see that there are different BAs. That have BA work, BA analyst, BA work, and everything. But we want to just pick the BA. Okay, once you do that, you can add that field. So if I click on add, you can see that. Okay, if you want to see the developer, the QA, the DA that works on that story, we can do all that by clicking on new field. Again, just go to existing, because I'm sure it has been picked already before, and then open your drop down. Also, you can type it, but if it's in there, by the time you start typing, you can see typing the QA to come up, but we want the dev to come. We want to arrange it in the order for which people work. So we can do dev. So you can see, you can pick dev, you can pick developer. Okay, so let's just pick dev, and then we can add that field also to it. So the developer can put their name in. And then let's do one for the QA and also for the DA, which I think they already exist. So I want to do the QA. I'll add the field to it. And then you can just see all the fields adding. And then we also want to, let's just quickly do the DA. So if you have more than one DA in your team, you want to know the particular DA that worked on this story. Oh, sorry. Hold on. It already exists. So I'm supposed to come here. So we're putting DA. We add the feed to it. Your ADM might just be one person, so you would know your ADM. We don't need to put a place for the ADM. But if the ADM chooses later on to say, oh, I want to have a column also in the story, Scrum Masters, you know what to do to get them here. But basically, mainly where we want to go to is the state. So after the layout, which is this, we want to also look at the state. What state do we want this product backlog items to go through? By default, these are the states that are there. You have the new, you have the approved, you have the in progress, which is committed, and then you have the completed, which is done. But we want to add some new states to it. We want a situation where when our story is in the BA's in BA board column, is showing in BA. Some team use active all through until it gets to close, and then automatically it turns to green, which is done. Okay, you can choose to do that, but we want to see when it's in a column, we want the state and the column to align together, and that's what we've come here to do. So when you click new state, the new state we want is the state for in BA. Okay, and when it's in BA, remember it's not in progress, because we don't commit to work when it's in BA. So the state category won't be in BA in progress, it will be new. It's because your BA works in the backlog, is proposed. They are writing that story. The product owner is still going to approve it. So it's a proposal that you're putting forward for the PO to approve before the team commits to it. So this, even though it's in progress for you, but because you work in the backlog, is a proposer. So it's proposed category. And normally for proposed category is always a gray color. And then we create that. And then you can see that it's gone under proposed. Okay. We create another one for the BA called BA done. So there's going to be another column called BA done. And we want, once the story is there, to be able to, again, your category is proposed. Yeah, we create that. Let me be a bit fast now because at least I've been able to show us what we need to do. And then the next person we want to create for is the developer. So there's going to be a column called in dev, and we want that to align. So that is when we've committed to, well, that's when the developer is working on it. So that can be in progress. So if I create that, that's not going to stay under proposed, it's going to stay under in progress. Quickly, I'm just going to quickly create this one. So this one will be dev done in progress. Click another one, and then we want in QA, which is in progress also. And the next one will be QA, sorry. That'll be QA done. Okay, so we have UAT also. So we just do UAT. We can just do UAT. All right. Let me do in UAT with that one. UAT means user acceptance test. And most time is either the BA or the PO that does that. You can also get your stakeholders to do UAT. What you're saying is as a user, they are testing that particular feature to make sure it's in line with their requirements before you take it to them. Some organizations work like that. Some teams work like that. It's part of the collaboration that you do with your stakeholders. So we have all the states created there, and then completed is just done. So we're not going to put anything under that. So those are all the columns you're going to create, like I said, and we want the stories to change to this state when they are inside there. So we've done that for the product backlog item. Okay, so for us to pick another work item, we'll go back to our process. So if I click on the process, it takes us back here. And then quickly, the task is the one we also want to put some layout here in the task. And the field we want to put there is a field, again, is existing, and is the field that says planned work hours and the actual worked hours. Okay, let me start typing planned. Should be able to bring it up. Okay, so you can see planned hours. So that's the hours you planned to work. We add that to it. And then we also want a field for actual work hours. So you can plan, might have planned to do 3 hours and then you ended up doing 5 hours. You want that to reflect in there. So you can see we've added those ones there. So that's fine. For the task, the state remains the same. It's just to do, in progress, and done. There is no other state we want to add to that. So we're going to go back to the process. And the next one I want us to quickly configure is the bug. So for the bug, there's nothing we're adding here. It has all the information we needed. The state is what we want to add more states to it. So once it's in committed, so I'm going to do new state. Once it's in committed, we want it to be active. Okay, so we want it in, once it's in any of the things that are in committed, we want it to be active. Okay, that you can see that in progress is active, but we want to change the color because a bug is danger, isn't it? So we want to change the color to red. We want it to be red when it's in active. Okay, and then we create that. Okay, and then we also want, and we want to call it active. We want to create another one still when it's in active, and then we want to call that resolved. Okay, so when it's resolved, we want it to have a lighter color, green. Let's give it this green, but it's still in progress. I'll explain to you when we get on the board why we're still leaving it in progress, even though it is resolved. Okay, so once that is done, we're leaving that still in progress. So those are the few things we want to do here before we go back to our board, and then we'll start creating what we need to create. So we're going to go through project here and go on our project. Okay, remember when we need to go on the board, what are we looking for? Let me open this up for us. What are we looking for? We're looking for boards. When you hover over it, it's going to show. If I remove it, it's going to go away. So the best thing for you to pick what you need to do is to click on it, and then it displays at the bottom here everything that is meant to be under this board. So we remember, you're not going to the work item, you're going to the second board that is here. So that's what we want to click on, because we're going on our board now to configure, add more columns. Okay, so we come back to this cog again. Remember, you go from your left to your right to this cog, this engine. We click on it. And then we go to the columns, because it's the columns that we want to add to. Now, okay, so like I said earlier on, we have 4 by default, but we're going to add more columns to our board. Okay, so here, like I said, is in BA that we want to see. That's sorry, that's one of the columns we want to create, or we want to add to our board. Again, our work in progress limit, we want to increase it to 10. We don't want to split it. We want it to be the only thing there. Now, what we've just gone to do on the project setting is because we want to be able to say that when our story is in the BA column, it's still new. The BAs don't create bugs anyway. The QA is the only one that creates bugs. So the bugs might not find its way into a BA column. Okay. But what we were saying is we want the product backlog item, which we configured, to still be new when it's in BA. So once we've done that, okay, you don't need to save and close all the time. You can just create all the bots you want to create before going to save and close. So just click on here to open another one. You can see it's open, then another one for us, and we want to call this one BA close, BA done, sorry. So this is the column, and what this column is saying is once there is any story here, the BA has finished working on it. Okay, so once is that okay? All right, actually I'm supposed to be changing the product backlog item. So once in here, we want it to change. So you can see those are the things we've gone to add during project settings. Can you see? That's everything we've added to say that once our story is there, we want the state also to be showing BA done. I'm going to go back to this one because I didn't change the one for this one. So over here, once the story is in BA, we want it also the state to be in BA. If we had not gone to do this earlier on, that was why I had to close it and go back so that we do all the configuration on the project settings. And then when we come here, it's easier for us rather than us creating the column and then now going back there to do that. It will be cumbersome kind of for us. So once we've had that done, I want this one, you can drag to where it's supposed to be. So it's meant to be new in BA. So that's the backlog. The BA picks it up, work on it. When they finish, they put it in BA done. Okay. And when it's in BA done, they get the PO to look at the stories that they've completed. If it's okay, the PO will approve it. So the approved column is the one that comes next. And after the PO approves it, the next column is your committed. When you finish your sprint planning from approved, we move it to committed. Okay. So the next one now that we're going to work on, we're going to create a column now for the developer. Okay, so here we want to have in dev is the column we want to create for our developer. So in dev, again, let's come down here, and then we want the story to show in dev. Okay, so because your developer also work on bugs that has been created by the QA, we want our bug to show active when it's in the developers column. We want it to show active. Okay. Also, when our bug is in, so committed should be here. Okay. When our bug is in committed, instead of it showing, okay, here, let's leave it as committed. When it goes to the developer is when we want it to show active. So let me take that highlighted here so that when it creates anything, it creates it before the done, not before the other one. So we need another column for dev done. Okay, so we're going to say as for dev done, and we still want the bug to be active, but we want the user story to have dev done. So the bug is still active because even though the developer has fixed it, is not the QA still need to retest it again before we can agree that it has been resolved. Okay, so again, we create, let's just highlight this one because that's when it helps us to arrange it properly. All right, the next one, the next column we want is in QA column. And in QA column is still active because they are retesting it. And then our user story will be in QA. Okay, as the QA column sorted. And then we want to create another one called QA done. So in your QA done is when your bug turns to resolved. So when that bug moves there, what you're saying is, oh, it has been resolved. So whatever the bug, the defect is, I've retested it. Now the developer has done it right, so it has been resolved. Okay, so we have that, and then we have the in UAT, which is when either your BA or your PO, depending on the agreement, the team's agreement, tests to ensure that what has been developed aligns with the acceptance criteria. Now, normally your bug won't go through here, okay? Because your PO or BA will not test your bug. The bug is just between the developer and the QA, okay? So once that has been done, we can just leave it as result for the bug, but in case it finds itself there, but normally they don't do UAT for the bugs, okay? So this one will be UAT done. Just going to quickly change this to UAT done. And then the last thing after that is the done. Okay, so that's our board setup. So I'm just going to quickly do our save and close so that you can see all the columns that we have created now on the board. Can you see them? That's the new, that's in BA done. You have the scroll bar at the bottom here. You can see where my cursor is going. That helps you to move your board across. BA done, approved, committed, in dev done, in QA done, in UAT done, and then the last done. That's the one that says completed. Some team changes to close, some leave it at done, some says completed, depending on what the team wants to use. But these are the basic things you will see on a project board. Any questions so far before we go to the next set? Any question from anyone? Okay. I'm not sure if people are raising their hands because I can't
Yes,
see.
they are raising up their hands.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Am I okay to go? I was waiting for Friday to prompt us.
I think my PA has gone to lunch.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
Busy
I'm here,
cooking.
I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Am I good
Yeah,
to go Friday?
Sultan, yeah, you are free to go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Moji, so far for the lecture, the workshop. My question is, so at the beginning, you mentioned that the PO doesn't necessarily need always have to have a board. Is that right? Right.
Yeah, the
So
PO doesn't need a column.
doesn't need a column. Yeah, but then when you were explaining the columns, when you got to BA done and it said the approved is basically the BA showing the PO his or her work to say, is that okay? So if the PO doesn't have a column, then how does the BA's work get approved?
Your PO is part of your team. Remember, the members of your Scrum team is the PO, the developers, which includes, so the PO still comes on the board. She works on the board, but you won't see in PO or PO done.
PO. Oh, okay. So so this approved column is basically for the PO, but it's not tagged as the PO's column. Okay. Okay, that helps.
She can even come, check the story, find out, oh, it's okay with me and all that, and then tell the BA to say, oh, I've checked out the story, they are fine. Just move them to approved. And what approved is telling the team and the Scrum Master is, these are the stories that have been approved for us to work on in the next sprint.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, quickly, let's go and have a look at we're still going to go back to the same place. I just want us to see this, and then we'll go back to the same place because we need to configure the field also. Okay, so we'll go back to that configure.
Please, I'm raising my hand.
All right, quickly, please.
Thank you. I got 2 questions. Please don't mind the question. I just need you to retrace on what you said before. I don't want to assume what I know. So why are we, thank you so far for the lecture. It's been very revealing. Why are we creating columns inside the board panel? I understand that's for the various teams, but why are we really doing that? That's number 1. And number 2, why are we adding feeds to the product backlog items?
Okay.
I don't even get my question.
All right. Yeah, I do get your question. Why we added those fields to the layouts, I'm going to create a story later on, and then I'll put you through. I'll explain to you why we did that. Yeah. Okay. For the columns that we have, your project board is meant to, I said earlier on, is for visibility and is also for transparency. So we can see what everybody is working on. Imagine if we don't have all those columns. And then we come into a meeting and the BA is telling me, oh, yes, I'm working. How can I see what she's doing? If there is no column for me to see, okay, so those are the stories she's working on. Okay, so she's finished that story. Now the story has moved to done. Oh, okay, so all the stories that are in approved are the things we need to work on in the next sprint. So let me give another scenario. I'm a Scrum Master. I come on the board. We're almost to the end of the sprint and I can't see any story in the approved column. I'm going to call the BA, and just check. Oh, I notice there is no story in approved. Does that mean we don't have any stories that we're going to work on? No requirements from PO that we're going to work on in the next sprint? So what your board gives you, like I said, is the visibility, the transparency for you to see what everybody is doing. And you as a Scrum Master guiding the team to work with the Scrum process, you're able to guide them through. So if the BA says, oh, it's because I've not reached out to the PO, or it's because I'm waiting for the PO to approve, she has not approved and all that, you can push also, get in touch with the PO to say, oh, the sprint is almost over, or it's time, we're moving towards the time when we need to refine the stories that are in approved in readiness for the next sprint. And there's no story for us to approve. And then that makes the PO to do what they need to do. It might be that the PO come on the board, check everything, but she just didn't move them into approved. Then she's able to get in touch with the BA to say, you know what, I've checked everything, it's fine. Just move them into the approved column. So it's for us to track what we're doing, track our progress as we go along, be visible to other team members, and be transparent.
Okay. Thank you. Which is really the essence for all that we are doing, which is the main reason for everything.
Yes, that's Agile for you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so quickly, we go back, like I said, to that cog, the configuration setting icon, and then the fields now. I tell you, when you click on it, normally by default, it comes to the field. So we want to add some fields into our product backlog item and also into the bug, so that we're able to see some things. So that card, that work item card, shows us some information that we can see freely. So by default, these are the things you can see. It shows you the ID. It shows you who it is assigned to. Those are the ones that by default it shows you. Okay, it shows you the effort, the estimates we did the other time. It shows you the effort. It shows you who you can tag. Shows you, oh, I can tag this person and all that. Those are the things it shows you. Now there are some additional fields that you might want to add onto that. And like I said, for anything you need to add, you can see that the state is there already. It's put the state as one of them. So if you want to see the state, which I don't think is there by default, so we can leave that. If you want to see more, all you need to do is to click on this field that you have there, and then you are able to add more fields into your product backlog item. And that's what we want to do now, to be able to add more fields to it. Okay, so I'm just going to click a few of them so that we don't keep scrolling back up and down, up and down. So I'm just going to click, if we don't need it, we'll delete it, but let's just, okay, I'm just going to do one more. Bear with me. All right, and then we'll see the feeds that we can add to our product backlog item. Okay, so like I said, the state one, we're going to leave that. We go to the next one. We click on the drop down. What do I want to see? I want to see the area path. Okay, I want to see that automatically it brings in our area path, so that I know when I'm on this board, when I'm looking at the story, I'm looking at the story that belongs to this particular project. Okay, so we want that to show in um our product backlog item. Another thing that we want to show is who it is assigned to. Bear with me. I think, is that at the top? Show assigned to. Okay, so that's there already. So we're not going to pick that because we don't want to, double just pick things. So we're not going to pick assigned to. We also want it to be able to show us the bud column. Okay, so as we go along, it shows you the bud column. So you're able to, it's telling you, okay, this is the column where the PBI, product backlog item, sorry, is. We also want it to show created by. So you have more than one BA in the team, and you want to know who created, who is the person that has written the story. You can do that also by clicking here, created by. Most times in the workforce out there, you have just one BA for a project. But here, because this is a training ground, we have more than one BA, and we just want to know who is doing what. Okay, so we're able to, we want to do that. We want to pick on that. We also want to pick on iteration path, and that's just telling us what sprint. It's telling us what sprint we're in. We're going to pick that. I think effort is there by default. Okay, so we won't pick effort. And I think another one we want to pick is what kind of a work item it is. It will be able to tell you is um a PBI. So I can just delete this. So that's just to show us what we want to see, okay, on that. Now we want to activate this little box. We want to check it. And what that is saying is, even if any of these fields are empty, we still want it displayed. If you don't check it, when any of those fields are empty, it won't show, it won't display in the card. But we want to see it. And that's why we activate this to say, I want to check this to say, if you want to display fields even when they are empty, you click on that. So we've done that for the product backlog item. You don't need to save, close, and come back again. Just go to the bug one. Okay, so the one that is highlighted is the one you're adding the feeds to. By default, also you can see that that one has all this and all that. The one for the bugs might not be as much as the one for the PBI, but again, we will see what some of the difference that we have there. Again, I'm just going to click some few ones there for us to use. Just click one more there. Okay, so already we have by state. Okay, so where are we? Sorry, we have by state there. So we want to add again, if we want to see the person that created this bug, we can pick created by. Okay, we can pick that. We want to pick the severity of the bug. We want to see that, what's the severity of this bug that has been raised, what's the priority. Priority is different from severity. So severity might be it's critical, so it's priority one. Actually, I'm going to remove that priority, because priority talks more about your PBI than your bug. Your bug talks more about the severity. Is it critical? Is it high? Is it low? Is it medium? You know, You want to click on that. I think we can put the resolved by also into it. So if you have more than one developer, whosoever resolved it, you can put the resolved by there, and then you want to put what kind of work item is it. And we know it's a box, so we want that to be sure, even though we will know because it will show there and all that. Again, don't forget to activate this little box, and then we save and close. So I'm going to just do a demo. I'm going to create an item, move it around so that you can see all the things that we've done. You can see how it plays out. So I'm going to do one of each of them. I'm going to create a backlog item. So I'm just going to call this one demo. Okay, I'll click out of it, and you can see all those feeds that we've added. You can see it there. Because I was the one that created it, you can see my name. The board column is new, the state is new, the work item is product backlog item. Even though we've not put an iteration there yet, we're not in sprint, but because I activated that box to say even if it is empty, you should show it. You can see that here. And then I can assign this one to myself to say, oh, I'm the one working on this one. I'll pick my name. If it's allowing me that is working on this one, once you pick this, these are the team members that we've added, remember, at the beginning and all that. So you're able to see all their names there. Okay, so normally for our project, Tommy is the BA, and your BA is the one that creates the social. I'm just going to put Tommy's name here because she's the BA. Okay, but it won't now tally with created by, because you can see here it says Muji is the one that created it, but it might be assigned to Tommy to, work more on it as a BA. Okay, so quickly let me raise the bug also, because also, so I'm going to call this one demo defect. Right. Okay, so again, you can see everything there. So normally a QA is the one that creates your box. I'm just going to put Rita's name there. I just want you to, align. Okay, so once this story lives here, you can do it two ways. Move your story into the next column in two ways. The first one is when you drag it, click down and drag it. You can see I'm just dragging it and it comes in there. Okay, and we can see because of the configuration we've done is in BA column and the state is saying be in BA. Remember, we grade it because it's proposal, so it's still great. So you can move it that way. Another way you can move it is to click in here, it opens, and move it to BA done. It moves by itself. So you can either click down, drag, or just open your states and move it. So if I want it to go to the approved column, I'll just click down on that. You can see it moving by itself. Okay. And that's the way it moves on. Now, I want you to see what happens when it gets to the committed column, because that's the column when it's in progress. The gray has turned to blue. That means it's active. Yeah. The story is active, and then it goes on and on and on like that. So once it leaves committed and it moves to in dev, Abimbola is the developer. Once she starts working on it, she assigns it to herself. So we're going to remove Tommy's name, who is the BA working on it, and we're going to turn it to Abimbola's name because she is the developer. So if you have more than one developer, they will assign it to themselves. So you're able to know which of the developer is working on that particular story. So once Abimbola is done doing what she needed to do on this, she moves it to dev done. Notice the state changing to the column that we're moving it to. Okay. And then from there, we move it to in QA. So Rita is the one working on this. She changes it to her name, either Rita or Adetunji changes it to their name, so that when I see the story and I have any queries concerning it, you know who to go and talk to is Rita. You don't leave Abimbola's name on it because he's left Abimbola's territory. It's now in the QA side. Okay, and then from there, you move it here, QA done. And then when it goes to in UAT, you move it here. Okay, so when it's in UAT, please BA, don't change it to your name. Leave it with the name of that QA that works on it. Okay, but what will now happen is, let me open it up, and then all those fields that we've added in, we're able to see what we can do. So for me to still know who is the developer that worked on this, who is the BA that created the story, even though I can see it through the created and all that. And then if it moves, if peradventure Tommy is doing UAT and she removed Rita's name, for me to know all the people that worked on it, I come here. So the BA person will put her name there. We'll have Tommy's name here. So that card, when you open it up, has all the information you need on it. That was why we needed to add those fields into it. So when I come here, I will know, oh, Tommy is the BA that worked on this story. Oh, Tommy is the, Abimbola is the developer that worked on this story. Rita is the QA that worked on this story. And then let's say Olaume is the DA that provided the data or checked the database and all that for this particular story. Okay, so that was why we added those, so that you know who worked on it. Now, I'm going to give you an Rita worked on it. Rita did the manual testing on this particular story, but Adetunji finished it up with the automation. We're not going to remove Rita's name and put Adetunji's name here. What we can do to show that Adetunji has also worked on this story is to tag Adetunji in. So I can click here and put Adetunji's name there. And that tells me, or anybody looking at it, that Adetunji also worked on this particular story. Okay. And then if you click out of it, his name is there. And then I'll show you where you will see his name later on to show you why his name is there. And then you save and close, and you can see Adetunji's name there. So even though Rita's name is inside, this is telling you that Adetunji also worked on this. It wasn't just Rita alone that worked on it. Adetunji also worked on it. Okay. And then after that, like I said, it goes into UAT. We know it's either the PO or the BA that does the UAT. The UAT done, and then once it's in UAT done, the Scrum Master might want to check, because once you have task on it, which you will see once you start your sprint, your task also shows here. It shows you the number of tasks that are on it. And then it gives you, if there are 4 tasks on it, if 3 of those tasks has been taken to done and 1 is still remaining, it will show you 3/4. So normally why a Scrum Master is advisable, it's best practice, let me just put it that way, for you to check that everything concerning the story has been properly worked on before it goes to done. You want to check that 3/4. So if you allow your BA to take it to done, once she's finished with her UAT thing and all that, it's not her responsibility to ensure that all the tasks on it are done. She just moves. If that's what you arranged for the BA to finish UAT and then move it to done, she just moves it to done. But hey, remember, you have 3/4. That means one task is open, and that task you're not sure if it has been done or not. Okay, except if you go into the sprint, look at the person that owns that task, and then go and reach out to that person. Oh, Adetunji, I noticed that your automation task is still in progress. You say, oh, sorry, I finished working on it. I just forgot to take it done, and then the Scrum Master can close it. And what you're doing is to ensure that by the time this story gets to done, it has met the definition of done. Now, don't ask me what's the definition of done. That's another thing you're going to get to work on during the sprint. So you have the definition of ready, definition of done. So I'm giving you an assignment to go and research into what that means and why do we need to have it as a team. Okay, on the agile. Okay. All right, let me quickly go back and then show you the journey of the um bug. So I'm not going to take the bug over through the BA side, through the back side of things, because they don't work on it. So remember, when it's here, it's still committed. Once Abimbola picks it from here and start working on it, it turns red and active, because that's what we said it should do. And then when Abimbola finishes on it, like, oh, sorry. Whose name do I want to put? Okay. Once Abimbola finishes on it, yeah, she moves it to dev done, it's still active, because the QA has to retest it to say, oh, I've tested it, you fixed the defect on it. Okay, and then the QA moves it in here, it's still active, remember? And then from there, if it goes into QA done, that's when it shows resolved. Okay, and it's showing that light green. That means it has been resolved. If it is not resolved, if the QA checks it and finds that, oh, Abimbola still hasn't done what it needs to do, all she needs to do is to pick that bug and put it back in dev column for Abimbola to see. and then maybe with a note here. She will tag Abimbola, so you have a discussion note to leave a comment for her. So she's able to tag by saying at, and then put Abimbola's name there. You can see the name coming also. If she says at Abimbola, she'll put the information. Abimbola will get the message. She will save it and then close it and leave it in Abimbola's column. So Abimbola would know. You can see the person that left the comment to put it there. So Abimbola will know that, oh, okay, so this is what they're saying. If she wants Rita to join a call and everything. So that was what I was saying, that once this has been done, okay, so a QA can take a bug to done. It doesn't need UAT. And she doesn't need, or he doesn't need to leave it in QA done. You know it's done, is resolved already. Okay, so it goes automatically. The QA can have the right to take that bug once it's resolved and she's happy with it or he's happy with it, to the done column. You don't need the Scrum Master to come and do that for you. Why the Scrum Master moves from UAT to UAT done, I've explained that there might be some tasks that are not closed and we just need to confirm, verify from the person that has that task that it has been done before we move it, because we don't want to assume that it's been done. Okay, so that is the journey of your work items on your project. But any questions so far before we go to the last bit? Quickly, any questions? Any question? We just want to quickly look at our dashboard and then our wiki page also, which is on our overview. Okay, so I'm just going to click on overview and then the board closes. Okay, so the repo, the pipeline, the test plan, those are the things that the QAs and the developers will work with. So your tutor would do demo using all this for you when they're teaching you also. So don't worry too much that I'm not going into all this. I'm just focusing on the aspect of things that the Scrum Masters would normally do. Okay, so quickly before I go to the overview, let me quickly come back here and go to retrospective. So you have your retrospective board there. Okay, so if I click on that, I'm able to create a retrospective board. Okay, let me see, is this the one I want? No, sorry, I prefer the other one. Sorry, my system is a bit low. I just hope it won't crash before we finish. Okay, so this is your retrospective. So once you set your board, this is what you'll get, and then you have to create your board, your retrospective board. So if I click on retrospective, if it's your sprint one, you're able to put the title there. So if I want to put the title, I can say sprint one retro. Some leave it as just sprint one, okay? Or some say retro for sprint one. Depends on what you want the title to be. So during retro, at times, there are times when you vote. By default, you have 5 there. You might decide to increase it, make it 7, or leave it at 5. What you're saying is that the number of votes per user. Okay, so you can leave it at that. You can include your team access. You say obscure the feedback of others until collect phase. You can leave that. You want it to display your prime directive. You don't want it to display the names in feedback. Okay, you want people to be able to write believing that they're in a safe place. So we want to leave the comments as anonymous. You can do that. Okay, once you're just starting as a team, you can do that. And then you'll have an opportunity by clicking on this drop down to pick different templates. You'll have different templates here that you can use. Anyone you can do, like during the demo we did for you, we used the one that is here. Okay, sorry, went out. We used the one that was here. Okay, I need to type all that again. Okay, and then I think I put this for 7. Okay, so we use the what went well, what didn't go well, and you have the opportunity to add another column to say, what do we want to improve? You have another opportunity to add another column and say, this is the action plan we're taking. on. I think you have, as you can see here, you can create a maximum of 5 columns in your retrospective, depending on what you want there. But there's no need creating so much if you just want to put a few things. But like I said, with the drop down, once you familiarize yourself and all that, you can pick different templates to work with. So let's assume that the ones we're picking are the ones we have. So this one, we want to name this one improvement. I want to call this one improvement. You can say improvement ideas, so just leave it as improvement. And then we want this column here to be the action. Okay, so this is what the action we've agreed as teams. Some call it action plans, some just call it actions alone and all that. So once you've done that, and then you save, that is the board created. Okay, and then your team members are free to click on the plus and put any comment in. The click out of it is saved there. If you want to delete it, click on the ellipses, delete the feedback. Okay, so those are the columns, and that is your retrospective. For the estimate one, we will do the estimate one as part of workshop. And why I'm saying that is because we don't have enough stories on the board right now to be able to create an estimate board. So let's leave the estimation board for now and then go to the overview, because we just want to also have a quick look at our dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to click dashboard. So we have two things to look at here, the dashboard and also the wiki. Okay, so again, that's the dashboard. Nothing has been added. So if you want to create, just click add widget, and then it shows you this left panel here. So this is your burn down. You can click on burn down. Once you click on it, it highlights, and then you add. Okay, that's your burn up. Once you click on it and then you add, it's adding it for you. And then chat for work item types, we don't need that for now. There are some things you don't need immediately, so don't plug your dashboard with loads and loads of things. Okay, so you can put there's another sprint bundle. They all have different features which you have a talk through. That's your sprint capacity. You want to be able to see your sprint capacity. So any widget you want, you just click on it here. And earlier on when I was talking about the extension gallery, which you might not even need to go to if your organization has everything you need already on your dashboard. So if you come here, this is the marketplace, yeah, for you can see Azure DevOps. That's the marketplace. So if you want to see, let's assume workflow efficiency. I'm not saying go and add it. I'm just saying if that's had it been we didn't have retrospective on it, you can see that's a free retrospective, and it will tell you if it is free. Anyone that has free trial is the one that after maybe 1 month they'll start charging your organization. So you don't want to add that to things, and you can see. So whatever you want on the dash, or whatever you want in the marketplace, you search for it here, and if they have it, it brings it up, and then you're able to add it to your organization. But right now we're not adding anything, so we're just going to leave here and go back to our project. I need to move this thing again because it's blocking me. Okay, so we're just going to go back to the project board. Okay, so once you've added everything you need to add, all you need to do is click on done editing, and all those things we've clicked on. I'm just going to delete them because there are nothing now on the sprint. That's why it's telling you that you need to set this iteration, and that's why I don't want to do the estimation aspect of things. This is just to show you your dashboard and how you can add your widgets to your dashboard. You will have to configure it also, but that's again another thing that is best worked on during your workshop, because we don't have the data on the board already in order to be able to configure this the way we're supposed to configure it. Okay, so let's quickly go to the wiki. That's another one that we need to look at. So your wiki is like the team's library. That's where you put all the information you have. Okay, you can put your team's projects on it. You can put your team's project information, the name of your team name. That's where you share information with your team members. That's where they go to. So you have anybody just joining your team newly, there is information on your wiki for them, what the project is all about, what's the mission, what's the vision. If you have any wireframe, you have a repository for your BA. This is where you create everything. So for this one, we can just give it also the name of our project. We can just call it okay. So that would be the name. And once you've done that, once we've created that, you can save it and close. And you have it there, the home, that's it. So if you need to create more pages on this one, come to the the ellipse says here, click on it, you can see add subpage. So if I add subpage now, and I want this subpage to be team members information, if that's what that page is all about, you can just put team members info. Again, save, close it, and you can see it's coming under FB. So it keeps falling under that umbrella of your team member. So anybody that wants the team's info is able to click on it. If you want another page, just go to, you can do new page down here. Okay, and then you can just, if you want it to fall under this your project, you can just click on here, add sub page. And then if this one is about your project information, can put the other one is team members info. This one can just be your project information where you have your mandate, your this and that. If you want to create a page for your BAs, you want to call it BA repository where the BAs can put all their wireframes and all that, you can create it. If you want to create a page for your sprint reports, so that your sprint reports, after giving the report, you're able to save it in your wiki. It's just a place where that's why I call it a mini library for the team, or a team's library. You're able to put information. You can also put information that has to do with Agile or Scrum there. And your team members, when they want to refresh themselves, can come there and get the information they need. Scrum Masters and ADM.
Sorry,
Can
what's
put
wiki for?
it's a library. It's for sharing information
Okay.
with your team members. So like as you can see what we have there, you have team members information where you can put your team members name, their role. You can put it there. You can put the information of your stakeholders there and everything that has to do with your project.
All right. Thank you.
Anything that has to do with your project, you can put them there. So that's your wiki.
Sorry, please, once again, can you give us like just 1
So,
minute?
and that's us done for the night. Can we mute ourselves, please?
Sorry, I'm just
Oh
asking
dear Lord.
something here.
Okay.
I said, can you just give us a minute? I just want to ease myself and I don't want to miss what you're saying.
You have to think about how many people are on call. 78. You want everyone to wait for you?
Just
That's funny, yeah. No, that
It's
one can't happen.
recorded, so you can as well. I know everybody is still going to go back, and because you can't take everything in tonight, so you'll still go back and listen to the recording.
All right, no
Yeah.
problem.
Okay.
Can that person mute himself? It's not fair,
All right.
please.
Please mute.
Please, can you mute?
All right. Thank you. I feel like I should stop sharing, and then we go through any questions we have. But I might need to share again if the question has to do with the board. So I'm just going to leave the sharing on, and then anyone that raises their hand, because I can't see, I can just see people raising their hand. I can't see the name. If you have any questions, please. Friday, if you can just help me to call the names. And then...
Yeah, Moji, you have Joshua and Mark.
All right, thank you. Joshua, do you want to go first, please?
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Thanks for the teachings so far.
Thank you.
Please,
Please remove the ma, please. Thank you.
All right.
Is Moji?
I want to ask a question about that retrospective. Are you with me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Yes. The other time when you want to teach us about that retrospective, there were two retrospective there.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you picked that, and I'm going to explain something to you. You know, I said earlier on that this is one of the reasons why there are two retrospective and there are two estimation purpose. Yeah.
Yes.
And what has happened here is someone has gone on the Scrum itself to add
Uh,
other things. And even though we've created an inherited process, because our inherited process is coming from Scrum, yeah, it has carried those babies along with it.
okay.
That is a perfect example of why we create an inherited process so that we don't bombard other people's project board with things that we are adding to our own project.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Who is the next person that raised the hand? I know that's
Yeah,
Joshua. Was the next
Max.
person? All right.
Yes, I am Max. Thank you so much, Moji, for this for upgrading us. Honestly, thank you. This is quite rich. My question is, as for in Azure DevOps, is it only being used in the Agile IT ecosystem only? That's the first question.
Mhm.
Just for emphasis sake, also, and as for the ADMs and the PMs, do they also engage this tool just like the Scrum Masters do? And if they don't, what do they use? That's my
Okay.
question. Thank you so much.
All right. So Azure DevOps is a project management tool. So Waterfall is a project management method, so they can use Azure. And then the Agile also can use it. So it's not specifically developed or created for Azure. It's a project management tool. Yeah, that's number one. And then the
Yeah,
other
I
one,
get that. I get that. I think my question was, I said, is Azure DevOps only being used in the Agile IT ecosystem? That was the first. That was the first
Agile
question.
IT.
Ecosystem.
Okay, can you explain that?
I mean, this particular tool is it only being used in the Agile IT ecosystem? I mean,
What's an
that's the question.
IT ecosystem?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what you need to explain to us. What's an IT ecosystem? Are you talking about software development lifecycle alone? Maybe not services, just software. Is that what you're saying?
No, in the Agile.
Agile is a method, and that was what I was
Okay.
explaining to you. Agile is a method, waterfall is a method of project management. Okay, so you
Oh,
have a project to manage, you need a method that you need to use to manage that project. You either use waterfall or you use Agile. Okay, so both of them can use this tool, can use Azure DevOps because it's a project management tool.
okay. I get it.
All right, thank you. And
And
then
then
the
the other
second
question.
question is sorry, what was the second question now?
Yeah, and as I said, for ADMs and PMs, today
Okay.
also
Yes. So your ADM also goes on your board. Okay. And they, like I said, your ADMs and APMs, they work
PMs.
with the team.
Okay.
They don't work in the team. So the Scrum team members are just your PO, your BA, your developer, and your QAs. Your DA also, if what they're working on is specific to data, and then your Scrum Master. Those are the people. If your DA is on your team, they are seen as developers. They are not, even though they are DAs, they are data analysts. They are called developers or engineers. Okay, but those are the people that make your team members. Those are the Scrum team members. The ADM, APM is not a Scrum team member, but they work with, not in, but with the Scrum team. And they go on the board also because they are all about delivery. So there are times when they just need to observe some things and then be discuss with the Scrum master the things they've noticed to say, okay, I noticed this pattern and everything. Maybe that's why we're not delivering to timeline. Discuss with the Scrum master and then put a plan in place or a process in place, or maybe you need to coach your team in order for us to, deliver things and everything like that. They are able to do that. Your ADM can attend your retrospective meeting. They really don't need to put anything on the board, but they might just attend the meeting, observe what is discussed during the meeting in order to either advise the team or advise the Scrum Master.
Okay. Okay.
But they work on the board also. They put things on the board. The roadmap, they can put it on the wiki. If they are the ones that have done the roadmap, they can put it on the wiki. So they go on the board also because they need to give reports also. And the reports you need to give is about delivery, high level information about delivery and all that. And you need to be on the board to be able to see things and, give those information.
Okay, thank you. And then if in the case where it is the waterfall method of project management, do they also use, are they in charge of, setting up the board and the rest of them using such tool as Azure DevOps?
Probably it will be the project manager that will set up the board. And you know that with Waterfall, what you have is a particular team finishing everything they're doing before handing over to the other team. So a BA will write all the stories that are needed for that project, get the sign off of the PO or the stakeholders, and the BA is done. Now the developer picks it up, do everything she needs to do, develop the whole thing, hand it over, gets the sign off, hand it over to the QA, and it's gone. And then the QA now start testing and start finding bugs. And you call back the developer to say, oh, we're finding bugs. And if it's a very clever developer, will say, oh, but by the time I finished developing, I gave it to you, you signed it off already. So if you want me to come back and everything, it might mean you'll have to employ me again, maybe for some um, few weeks in order for me to do what I need to do. Now, having said that, Waterfall doesn't do sprints. That is specifically to Agile, because Agile is the one that is working iteratively. So Agile is the only method that is using sprint. And what we're using right now is the Scrum. So if Waterfall has to use this, maybe they'll be using the basic process. They won't use Agile and they won't use Scrum because Agile is a method on its own outside of Waterfall. And Scrum is a framework under Agile. So the board we've created today won't be something that a Waterfall team, a team that is managing a project under the Waterfall method would use.
Okay, thank you so much. So my last question, I'm sorry if I may.
Only you 4 questions. Others are raising their hands.
Okay, so what are you? What's your expertise, if I may ask, please?
Scrum Master ADM. I'm a Scrum Master, but I work right now as an ADM.
Okay.
So I'm both. I grew from one into one.
From Scrum Master and then to ADM.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So
much. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to finish by we should have finished. Let's pity the people that are 1 hour ahead of UK, all the people in Nigeria that are 1 hour ahead of UK. All right, so if I don't need to show anything on the board, I'm just going to stop sharing. And then let's just wrap it up for the day. Thank you so much, everyone. It's always been a pleasure to impact people with knowledge. So thank you. All right, there are no other questions. Allow me if you can stop the recording, please. Hello, Laomi, are you there? You can help us to stop the recording. Oh, somebody said it's midnight here. I know. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for attending tonight. I know that it's a lot. There is a recording, so it's something that you would go back to, listen to, and then the more you listen to it, the more you listen and the more you watch the video again, the more it becomes more, you get familiar with what you've learned tonight. I know it's a lot. Yeah, I know it's a lot. Thank you so much, everyone, and have
Thank
a
you so much,
wonderful.
Moji.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Have a
Moji.
wonderful
Everyone,
weekend,
You are
everyone.
very,
bye.
very
Thank
good.
you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, bye, Moji.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Moji.
Thank
Yeah.
Bye,
you.
Moji. Bye,
Night.
Moji. Bye,
Are we
Moji.
done?
Bye, Moji.
God bless you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you. Long
let's go, guys. Let's go, guys.
Who is the repeating machine here?
Are we done?
Bye,
Let's go,
Moji. Bye,
guys.
Moji.
Let's
Bye,
go,
Moji. Bye,
guys.
Moji.
Let's
We are
go,
just beginning.
guys. Yeah.
Bye, Moji.
Let's
Bye,
wait a
Moji.
little bit
Bye,
now.
Moji.
Still nothing
Okay.
Bye,
adult.
Moji. Bye, Moji. Bye, Moji. Bye, Moji.
Our
Hey,
voice is too waxed.
Bye, Moji. Bye, Moji. Bye,
My
Moji.
person don't reach the village.
Yes.
Everyone tomorrow.
So can we go?
You are free to go now.
The meeting has ended. Please, you can leave. Thank you.
Bye, bye. Sleepy, oh, I don't care.
Why are you judging now?
The stuff has not been, the recording has not been stopped though.
Really? I think Moji has slept.
That's true. Auntie Moji don't sleep. Oh.
Oh.
no, it's like Laumi has entered kitchen.
Oh, other room.